Hello, everybody. Welcome to Champions of the Fog. We are here with Vicinal versus Bombom. Ascent is going to be the victor of the previously mentioned match between Ascent and Misery because Misery unfortunately had to forfeit. But we do have more Dead by Daylight with a Spirit game. Gallo Fake on the Spirit going up against Vicinal Survivors. I'm Tyro, one of your casters, and I'm joined by Jules. And Jules, we have a chase underway around this truck.
Yeah, we do. We're already on. I believe that's Alan Wake. Gbot on the Alan, and I saw a little bit of a P100 spirit in the lobby too. So hopefully Gallo Fake is able to showcase that a little bit. That's going to be exciting. But already a first hit coming on to Alan. Gbot takes a hit and is going to be heading into this pretty unsafe 4 lane. Might be able to. Ooh, just dying under the pallet actually. So maybe there's somebody nearby, but Gallo does not seem to think so. Seems to.
Ooh.
Okay, tried to catch that as a little fake, but did not come through. So that's gonna be a pallet save. So well played to the survivors so far.
Yeah, Gallo Fake not going to get the down gets the down now, but it is going to take more time due to Grease Zero getting that save. That is a tag, though, in response, which will apply a Sloppy Butcher to Gree, and that will slow down any resets going forward, but we do actually see the med kit in play, and in the meantime, the survivors are just doubling this generator far away from that chase, and that is some good gen pressure right there.
No, for sure, for sure. The first gen already coming out, but there was an injury on degree 0, and we see that they are healing as well. So hopefully, yeah, there is the full reset. And Gbot on the hook in the meantime. We have some pretty standard perks, by the way, on Spirit. That's Sloppy, Eruption, Ruin, and Corrupt, but Ruin, I believe, did get cleansed already, so already a perk gone, Corrupt also gone, reeling up two perks remaining for the rest of the trial, and Gree Zero definitely looks like he wants to be trading for our Alan. I don't think, yeah, we're just going to be hooking on this steep 3 hook once again. No, actually choosing to carry a little bit over to this generator, maybe trying to get some pressure off the gen in the meantime, but that gen looks like it is at 0.
Yeah, I mean, that is a very quick unhook and redown, and Gallowfake, just taking opportunity there to get that down and that more opportunity hook. But here we have, it looks like there's starting to reset G-Bot, and Gallowfake is now looking around, trying to find a rotation for that unhook. Gallowfake not able to find anybody, but does have that generator regressing, and we do see that it is highlighted with that eruption because the ruin is gone. So the survivors are going to have to be wary of that if they start trading even more. This generator has some progress. That's going to be a blast mine to stall out that kick, and this might actually open up an unhook opportunity. Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen, and Gallowfake's going to go right back for that tunnel out.
Yeah, I mean, we have 2 hooks on 2 different survivors. We have a hook on Ace and a hook on the G-Bot. And spreading out the hooks not the most common strategy in comp. We do usually want to see that tunnel out, so I would not be surprised in the slightest if Gree Zero is going to be taking chase after this. Does not choose to... Oh yeah, that's going to be a down, I think, and Eruption procced on that generator nearby as well, so we know exactly where that survivor is. We might be choosing to hook next to that generator. Yeah, Tori is going to be pressured off of the area. And Bronzy, yeah, Bronzy does not want to give any extra tags or anything like that. He's going to be stealthing in this area at 12. And we'll see if Gallowfake is able to find her survivor over here. It doesn't look like they're actually trying. Looks like they're trying to pressure this gen by the car pile instead.
Yeah, well, the gen pressure early on with that double was phenomenal. It does not look like that the gen pressure is where it needs to be, especially with Green now on second stage and G-Bot also having a stage. And that death spot is kind of unfortunate for the survivors. Gallowfake able to just kind of pressure the hook and this generator that has lots of progress. We do have the blast mine stalling out the kick yet again, and that's actually opening up a run by for the unhook under Gree Zero again pretty early. We're gonna have to see if Gree Zero is going to be able to make it to anything. Gree is here by the shack, going to be eating a tag but getting stunned with the shack pallet. That's going to give Gree some opportunity to get across the map, go and die in that 3 pocket. We are going to see some plays here. Very sneaky usage of live, but Gallifey calling it out, going to be going for the pickup. And we are going to see the pallet save, but Slasher's going to go
No
down in
way.
response.
Oh my gosh, that was okay. Well, good pallet save, but if Greasero goes down here, that would be worse. But no, he does manage to dodge that hit, so maybe it was worth it. It's kind of hard to say so far. It depends on what he does here. It's all up to our ace. And of course, all up to Gallifake as well. But that is going to be a down on the ace and an elimination on the board as well. We do not have any sort of anti-tunnel available at the moment. And I mean, Ada does get healed up though in the meantime. That was a very fast heal. We have a fully reset survivor. Everyone is completely healthy in the 3v1. So, I mean, it's looking bad considering the tunnel out is at 2 gens and we have one other hook, but it's not looking that bad. We could definitely pull some outs here. It could really go either way, I think, Tyra.
Yeah, I mean, Spirit does excel at getting those tunnel outs very quickly, and that's exactly what we see. But at the same time, the 3v1 is where survivors kind of shine in the Spirit set, from my experience, as long as tags aren't given. But here we have Bronzy getting tagged right off the bat. That's going to be a chase down here on the bottom side of the map, running straight towards that bus. That's going to be a phase, and Gallo has to get this down quickly. The pallet here is very safe, and that's going to be a stun. But we do see Bronzy kind of caught out on the other side, does not make it into the bus, is going to have to die on the edge map here at the bottom of the map. And that was a very nice down from Gallo Fake.
A very nice down, but also very far away from the active generators. We don't really have the distance to make it across the map to where the gens are getting worked on. We don't have agitation or iron grasp or anything like that to work with, just these regression perks and sloppy butcher. But I mean, we can still pressure out this generator though. We do have some mobility given we are Spirit and we have a phase, and Ada is going to be stealthing. In the meantime, the unhook does come through very fast. And I think we want to find whoever is stealthing in the area, because if we don't find them, they're just free to work on that gen. So Ada's doing a great job here by not getting found. I think that's super important in these 3v1 matches for sure.
Of course, and Slasher not being found, that is, like you said, extremely important, and they were able to get a reset because of that. And Gallo has to be very mindful of that generator at the top side of the map, but we do have a chase progressing around the bus yet again. That's going to be a quick tag on the Bronzy. Gallo Fake very, very proficient with these phases so far, and Bronzy is forced to go down towards this tile at the bottom side of the map. Gallo trying to get a follow-up, but we do have this drop pallet at the truck. A very good patience from Bronzy, not going to go down just yet, and going to be abusing that slow speed from the Spirit now that the phase is on cooldown. Going around this tile, we do have the window, which is going to be vaulted. Bronzy going straight around the window, trying to fake out the Spirit, but it's not going to work. And that will be a down after that generator pops.
Yeah, I mean, we're at 1 gen. We could make something work from this. This is going to be a down onto Bronzy. I'm not totally sure if they're death hook or not. I don't believe so. So that is going to be the second hook onto our Tori player. And the other 2 survivors, like you said, I think doubled. So we don't have too much generator progress to speak of. But these gens, man, these gens are in complete opposite sides of the map. We could have somebody working that generator deep 3 and deep 9, and very little ability to pressure them both out. We aren't playing a killer like Twins or Unknown or any sort of killer that can pressure 2 generators at the same time. I mean, we're playing Spirit and she has a little bit of phase available, like I said, but that does not get you to the other side of the map in an instant. So gonna have a little bit of trouble, I think, on Galafake's side at least, pressuring these generators out. We really need Bronzy dead. We need to work our way into the 2v1. We need to find these survivors stealthing and not get, not give away free tags, at least on the survivor end, I think.
Yeah, G-Bot is going to be found out and giving a tag. It seems like every time you mention that, the tag comes through on the screen. But that is going to be G-Bot taking chase on the same bottom side tile. Going to be trying to go for a window fake. It's not going to quite happen, and that is going to be an excellent down from Gallo Fake. And like you said, I mean, this is a very good gen split. Against most killers, this would be, you know, a done deal. But I mean, with Spirit getting these downs as quickly as Gallo has been able to, that's going to lead to some problems for the survivors. And that eruption giving out some information to Gallo is also going to play in their favor as Chase is going to start onto Slasher.
Yeah, the eruption aura helping us know exactly where Slasher had run off to. I think they were very much aware that their aura was being read, though, and managed to make it to a safe pallet and get that pallet done. So well played by our Ada player. They've been really pulling through this match. They helped a lot, especially with that pallet save mid game and just doing some excellent stealthing in the late game as well. But we do spot our Tori player, I think, heading into this area, but I think maybe lost a little bit. She did double back. That was an excellent double back by Bronzy, but this is their death hook, and if we get this down, that's going to be a 2v1. Um, really all up to how long Tori can last. Oh, dead hard coming through too, but didn't quite land, unfortunately.
Unfortunate for Bronzy. That will be the death, just like you said. Gallo, that tracking is phenomenal. I mean, Gallo has yet to really mess up a phase. I think there was like one play that Gree had on that final tunnel out chase where he got the better of Gallo fake. But I mean, Gallo's phases have been on point, and now we have an injured G-Bot and Slasher trying to duke it out over this final generator, and it's not going to be enough. That's going to be a kick, and the chase is going to commence onto G-Bot, who is injured and might proc eruption here if they go down.
Yeah, and like you said, we haven't missed very many phases, and Gallo is sticking with that. I think this is a 4K1 Tyro. I think we see the scratch marks over here, and we know that Ada is somewhere in this area, but they are healthy. Maybe we can stealth out a little bit. Oh no, they're found, unfortunately, and I think that is going to be all she wrote. I think Ada is going to be going down here unless some crazy jukes come through, but no.
My goodness.
Yeah, 4K1. Wow, I'm honestly impressed. I feel like I see outs in Spirit.
Yeah, outs are pretty typical and very good on Gallo fake to get the best of this team, which I mean, I'm a big Vicinal fan. I know how experienced they are, and I mean, Gallo just looked incredible on this Spirit, getting tag after tag, phase after phase. I mean, very proficient with that power.
No, for sure. I mean, I think we have to find this slug here, but bleed outs do not completely matter here because we have already hooked Shibot at the very beginning of the game, maybe later too as well. But that is going to be the death onto our Alan Wake player and Slasher on the hook. To die as well. But yeah, well played to these teams. I mean, for a second, it might have looked like a 4K too, because that tunnel out was really fast, but getting that gen doubled in the mid game was super important, I think. And getting at least one more gen popped out, because this is a matchable result for sure. It's not, it's a little difficult, but it's possible.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what Vicinal's killer is going to do. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Champions of the Fog. We are in the midst of the Vicinal versus Bombom set, and this time we're going to see Vicinal's killer, Grease Zero, go up against Bombom survivors. I'm Tyro, one of your casters, and I'm joined by Jules. Jules, what do we think about the win con that was set last game?
I mean, a 4K1, that's a tough win con to beat because we have to get a 4K2, right? So I mean, Gear Zero, I've seen them a little bit. I've seen them play some sets, and they usually do pretty decently. So maybe they'll be able to pull it off. But an interesting build, by the way. That's going to be an early shock pellet and Dragon's Grip Eruption, Sloppy, and Corrupt as well. We have Dragon's Grip. I've been seeing it more and more often in these spirit sets. It seems to get a lot of value, and that is going to be Paradox on the Ada, taking a hit, tried to double back, but I think got a little bit stuck there. And this might be a really fast down. It depends on how they play this palette. Oof.
Ooh, yeah, Paradox not pathing towards the pallet, trying to get one over on Gree, but Gree getting a very impressive fast down with the phase. And kind of similar to last game, we're seeing these two survivors double out a generator. But the one thing that is different is that this is going to be a basement hook, which is much more difficult to get a save on, especially up against a Spirit who can kind of, you know, just kind of go back and forth from the basement towards these generators and pressure them with the phase. And Gree is now trying to look around for any rotations on the saves, but does not find anyone. Is going to actually find Yuziv, but not going to commit to a chase probably.
Yeah, that's gonna be Dragon's Grip on the generator though, so Ace is gonna be have to be very careful touching that generator again, but we see now why Paradox did not go to the pallet in the middle of that 3 area, because there was a double gen being worked on over at 4, and going down in that pallet would have been really bad. They would not have been able to finish that gen, so maybe taking the L for the team a little bit and going down a little bit further
Oh,
away. But that's gonna be a Dragon Script down onto Ace. That was some value. I don't usually see Dragon Script value, but I'm glad that we did see it here.
yeah, that is incredible for Gree. That's going to be a down on the Yuzu, and that's going to be a down in the basement as well. That's going to be 2 survivors down, and Paradox is injured, having to run away as the tunnel out from the basement. Gallowfake is going to be forced off of a generator and starting to get these pickups, but it could be a while, especially with that basement slug. And that's going to be a chase around the bus, but we don't really have the good bus, and that's going to be a very quick down. And rather than get the picks, it looks like Gallowfake is just there trying to get the generator 99 and put his team in a better position for the future. This could be difficult, though, because that is going to be the second stage on the Paradox at 4 gens. And look at these slugs.
Yeah, they have to get all the way to 4K1. We have a survivor in the basement, an injured survivor, and a survivor our tunnel out on the hook. And I mean, we're at 3 gens pretty much. We have a gen 99, so I'm just gonna say we're at 3, but it's looking rough. It's looking rough. I would not be surprised if Grey Zero actually manages to meet this win con. Because 1 more generator is okay, and 2 more generators is going to be a tie. But we'll see. We'll see if these survivors manage to crank out some gens and get a little bit of recovery going from the bit of a snowball that they've been having the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, one interesting thing here is that, I mean, Yusuf is injured, which means that he can't really play for either of these saves. And that's going to leave Gallowfake as the only person who can even kind of pressure. But Gree is kind of doing a good job of protecting both of these hooks at the same time. Sees that someone went into basement, but is more concerned with the tunnel out than anything. Is going to get the tag onto the once healthy Gallowfake. And now it looks like they're trying to pressure this unhook over here. But I don't think that's going to happen. Yep, that's going to be Paradox going back to the campfire. And Gree is now in chase with Notline, who is going to be running towards the edge map over here. That it looks like there was some progress on that generator, but just going to be dying corner, trying to get away from that basement and die in an advantageous place.
Yeah, super unfortunate that things worked out the way they did, because Ace is the one with the decisive strike. It's not the tunnel out. Also was injured, so didn't get the FTP off or anything like that. Things just could not have gone more wrong, I think, in that mid game. But we are going to be slugging our Hanato. Maybe Gree thinks that there might be a bit of a decisive strike on Hanato in the corner, but we do spot out our Ace, and everyone is injured right now. So there could be a bit more of a snowball coming. I'm a little worried this thing.
Yeah, Yusuf trying their best to do a good chase over here on the edge of the map away from the slug. Gallo just trying to get gen progress going, but that is going to be the eruption proc actually revealing Gallofake's position. Gallo's going straight towards line, trying to get the pickup, but it does not look like Gree is going to let up the pressure here and is just going to be going for that slug. And we are not going to see the chase start just yet. But Gree is going to find line over here at the same spot that they were down earlier. That will be another down, but Gallo, I don't think they're going to be able to get the pickup onto Yusuf in time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, dying in the corner is usually good for choosing the hook, but it also requires you to rotate even further when you're on the survivor side to pick the slugs up. So Gallo has to trek their way from one side of the map to the other. It's just... oh, it's just looking rough. It's a lot of stuff on his to-do list, and I mean, it just really depends on how long they can survive here. There were some lockers at bus. I'm surprised they didn't actually force locker, but they're going to be taking chase onto this edge map tile. This is a Z-wall, and unfortunately, don't win the Z-wall, but I'm not gonna blame them for that. The Z-wall is a little bit of a weak tile, so yeah, that's gonna be a pay up actually on the Gallowfake. We are gonna be picking up and trying to get that extra stage in the meantime while these other two reset.
Yeah, this is a very important reset here. I mean, that's going to put the survivors in a much better position regarding these rotations, and it's going to make it harder for Greed to slug, but that is going to be the chase here on to Yusuf in the corner. And that's going to leave Line up and healthy, bombing the hook right now as we speak. And Green knows this is going to be phasing right over there, trying to get as much pressure from this as possible. Not going to be picking up Yusuf, who might have some bleed out potential at this point.
Yeah, that reset was calculated, I think, because Hanata does have will make it and hopefully is able to get a little bit of will make it value. Now he's going to be taking chase though in the meantime, and I mean, if the ace does get hooked, he has second wind, but I don't think our killer is in the mood to hook at the moment. There's a lot of slugging going on, which is perfectly acceptable because there's a lot of pressure on the Star side, and our win con is a little bit high. So, okay, that's going to be the Hanato going down, and we are going to be hooking now. First stage on Hanato, no, second stage on Hanato at the moment. I'm just going back into the middle of the map, looking for that reset on the other two.
Yeah, both these survivors are injured over here on the other side of the map. Gree looking for the rotations, knowing that they have to be over here, and that's going to be Gallo found yet again. Gallo going to be running over here towards this very good pallet. But, oh, very good play from Gallo, going to be winning that 50 on the pallet drop. Gree going to be playing around, trying to get this down onto Gallo. Gallo running over towards the edge of the map. We do have a pallet here. The vault is not going to be enough, but they do manage to get the heal off onto Yusuf.
Yeah, I mean, it it hasn't been looking too good. We need to have a good chase, some blocker forces, maybe some very well coordinated plays from these survivors. They have to be very coordinated if they want to get to the Tycon and get these next two gens popped, because Gree has been putting so much pressure on these survivors. They've been getting downs over and over and over again, but having this reset by Hanato and Ace in the distance is huge. Having everyone healthy except for the survivor on the hook, of course, is going to be crucial, I think, into getting these next couple of gens popped. Our gen spread is not bad either. We have a generator, like 2 gens by the hook, like 7 and 6 gen check, and a gen on this hill. But that is going to be Hendato caught out a little bit in this hill area and taking a hit. Second wind on the ace though. Or sorry, FTP. That's going to be for the people. He does have second wind, but he has not been hooked yet.
I'm not quite sure why the For the People came through here, but that is going to be the death onto Line. And that just kind of leaves Yusuf injured here in the 2v1. And additionally, they didn't get any extra progress for that. I'm kind of confused on that one. But that is going to be the death onto Line. Line's going to be going out of this game, and that will be Yusuf and Gallo in chase now. But that with that kick, that's going to almost regression limit that generator. And Gree now has 2 choices to go here, and is going to go for the injured user. No, I spoke too soon. Gonna go for Gallo fake. And very well played from Gallo, just playing a little bit erratic and leaving these phases with much to be desired. Gree's going to go straight back towards Yusuf, who is injured in this tile.
Yeah,
Cannot quite find them.
I mean, good job from the survivors in the last minute or so. They've been dodging every phase and managing to play around these tiles pretty well. I think Gree's a little bit confused, but I mean, it's going to be Dragon's Grip not applied because it is still on cooldown. And I wonder if we are able to find these survivors. I know we just spotted our Tori in this tile, but I don't know where she went. And I think Gree does not quite know either. So Tori is somewhere on the map nearby, and I think might be hovering this generator while I expect Tenato pushes out this generator near the hill. Yeah, we can see him working the generator. Sorry, Ace working the generator in the hill. And I mean, yeah, I don't know. If these survivors manage to pop these next two gens, I would be very impressed. Ooh, that's a good stun though. That was a very good stun on the wrong side of the pallet by Ace, and he does vault and get out of the most dangerous area, but is going to be going down, I expect. In the meantime, he is very close to bleeding out as well.
Yeah, and I think Gree realizes that that is going to be a pickup rather than a slug. One thing in Gree's favor is that this is the first hook, and you're not allowed to Kobe, so that does have a 70-second timer if they want to try to play for some sort of escape. That generator is going to pop, though, alerting Gree to Gallo's exact location. Gallo, you can't hide, bud. You're found already. Is going to be in chase now. That is not going to hit. That is ambitious. But Gree going to actually fake phase here, trying to catch Gallowfake off guard. But they're doing such a good job of playing around this tile. Gallowfake has been phenomenal in every chase that I've seen so far. Just putting the pressure onto Gree. Gree has to go back. Gallo did such a good job that Gree did not know if they were running towards the unhook or not.
Yeah, Gallo doing phenomenal in these chases and apparently phenomenal at stealthing away. I have no idea where he went, so agrees with me, I think, and is also a little bit lost. But I think we just saw the rotation. They were probably stealthing behind some nice tires or something like that. The urban evasion coming in clutch. So some nice urban evasion value, and it's going to be a chase onto Gallowfake. In the meantime, our ace does go to the second stage. And it's a hit through the vault. I think we actually might manage to get the unhook without taking a hit if Ace manages to body block. And Ace does have decisive strike, remember? So, I mean, that's if we actually decide to pick up, of course, which is highly unlikely, considering that bleed outs only matter when you are not a fresh stage. So second wind coming through on our ace as well. We are healthy now and can take an additional hit. So taking a hit and just heading back in this TL, but I think that might be all she wrote in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, Gree playing just as decisively as we saw Gallo play last game. The only difference is that the gen progress was not quite at the level where it needed to be comparatively. I think the beginning chase, I mean, while fast on both games, I think that the decisive nature of the survivors in the previous game did kind of lead them to be able to pop that generator much more quickly. And look, Korea is even evading that decisive strike with the Mori, getting those necessary stages and claiming the win on the first set for Vicinal.
Yeah, yeah, well played. I did not expect that 4K1 win con to be exceeded, but they did an excellent job. So props to Degree Zero and props to. All right, everyone. Welcome to the unknown on the Rancid Avatar map. We have Jiba on the killer this time, and Vicinal did take the first set. It was a 4K3 to a 4K1. So heading into the set on the unknown, feeling good. And I already see a little bit of a snipe coming through. I don't think he saw anyone. He was just, if it landed, it would have been pretty cool. But we do spot out some scratch marks over here at the shack. But I am joined by my co-caster, Tyro. How are you doing, Tyro?
I am doing fantastic, and I'm even better now that I get to see G-Bot play the unknown. And right off the bat, we have a power tag onto Yusuf, and Yusuf is going to be forced to drop the shack pallet. Oh, but kind of lags out. Oh no.
That was unfortunate, and I can't tell if that was lag or if he just ran into the wall for a second, but either way, he is going to be getting hooked, and that was an incredibly early down. I don't know what the expected is for Rancid on the first chase, time-wise, but I think that might have been a lot faster than it should have been, but unfortunate on the survival side, I don't think I don't think that was intended at all. So G-Bot looking good, feeling good, and he is pressuring out this main building gen as he did manage to hook directly next to it.
Yeah, G-Bot putting down the pressure. We do see a ruin in the build, and G-Bot's going for a lot of these snipes around the map, trying to get people off of these generators. But with that early down, I mean, G-Bot's content to just kind of hover around this area because, I mean, look at this gen pressure. It's barely there, just due to how fast that down was. It's very unfortunate on the part of Bombom, but I bet Gbot is very happy with this current situation. Is just going for these pop shots, trying to push these survivors off the generator and make them go as slow as humanly possible.
Yeah, but I mean, he's coming a little bit, and these survivors are certainly taking advantage of it. We see three different generators being worked on, and they're all somewhat high progress. He can't count this out all the way for sure, but he definitely can force this second. And I don't think our survivors are in any mood to unhook at the moment. They're just content to be working on their gens, and yeah, I mean, we can only pressure out 2 out of 3 of these gens though, so very good on the survivor's part to 3 split them because
Ooh.
now we only have 2 gems. That was a good UVX shot. He just chooses to go back to the hook though.
Yeah, trying to look for a rotation because we didn't see 2 generators pop there. It does look like Gbot is trying to get that tag onto Gallo Fake, but Gallo's positioning is extremely good there. Not going to be giving up that tag. We're going to see the second gen pop here now, and that might be a three gens popping if they just hammer out that hill gen, but it looks like Gbot is content to just camp this out to death, trying to get the snipe onto Gallo, who still has not gotten rid of the UVX infection, but that is going to be a trade, like last second on the frames. That's just going to be, ooh, we're actually seeing Gbot just get the pickup, but it's not going to be enough. That generator will still pop.
Yeah, the generator pops. We see the detective's hunch aura, so we do know the general location of the ruin. And our tunnel out is in a little bit of a tricky spot. We don't have any
Oh
pallets or
no.
anything. They have lights, but there is no window to vault. They're gonna be forcing locker, and I don't think there's gonna be any other way they can delay that down, unfortunately. But we do see Rebecca on a totem. She did just cleanse a teleport in the main building a minute or two ago, so definitely playing a little bit safe, but Ruin is gone. We have 2 Painter's hooks used up, one on Ada who traded and one on our ace. And I mean, this could really go either way. It's a 3v1 at 2 generators, and it depends on how these survivors play it from here on out. We just have Eruption and 2 Painters to work with in terms of gen position, so.
Goodness. Gbot is going to get that down onto Paradox. Very well played around that pallet. And I mean, it's looking pretty dire for the survivors. They did cleanse that ruin, which is going to make things a tad easier in the 3v1. But Gbot is just going to be trying to get that eruption going. And with that very quick down and the second stage on the Paradox, this could be a quick 2v1.
Yeah, I don't think he's trying to go for the tunnel though. He wants to pressure this gen at Shack. We really want to get that 4K2. That would be huge in terms of setting a win con because obviously it's very hard to pop that last generator if it's 4K1. There are some pretty nice 3 gens that spawn on this map on either side, and we are in hot pursuit of the survivor who's working on the Shack gen. They do manage to pass behind main, but Rebecca gets caught a little bit off guard. I don't think she realizes that the unknown cut through the middle of main building and took the hit as a result. But I don't think that's going to be a down. I think she did make quite a bit of distance. So.
Yeah, Gbot trying to mind game around the main building is going to cost it, and that is going to be Rebecca getting out of chase. And like he kind of said, Gbot is trying to set up some sort of 3-gen here. It's not the best 3-gen, but it still is a defendable 3-gen, especially with the way main is positioned. But we are going to see the injured survivor along with Gallo Fake in the area. Gbot's going to be trying to pressure them, and looking for a potential tag just to make things a little bit more difficult. We are going to see the power being used. UVX going to hit Gallo Fake and get that infection. That is going to be a chase around the main building. A very good UVX, but an even better dodge from Gallo Fake. That is going to lead to an M1 hit, though. And now Gallo has to be very mindful because that is going to be another UVX. And we could actually see... Oh, we aren't going to see the teleport being used, but we are going to see Gallo on the other side of the map not quite getting around that pallet. And that will be a down. And rather than go for the pickup, I think we saw G-Bot teleport and slug.
Yeah, a bit surprised that there's no pickup here because we do have Champion of Light, first of all, but we also do have a Pain Res available on Gallo. There might not be a Pain Res super close, to be fair, so that would be... Ooh, that's another chase in the Paradox. We already had 2 hooks, I believe, on our Ada, so this is going to be the death hook on Ada if she goes down. Yeah, this generator was pretty high on progress, did get erupted after that down, but Dalita Galifake does get picked up in the meantime, and I think G-Bot wants to go back into this corner to find that reset before it is too late.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to get that, and that will be the down onto Wozes. And now Galifake going to be booking it out of this area. Meanwhile, Wozes will be that fresh hook, and this is probably going to be a Pain Res as well, which is going to help on that Shack Gen. Paradox just using that Champion of Light to get as much distance as possible, but playing extremely safe here in the 3v1, which is what you want to see from the survivors. Not sure what Gallo Fake is doing at the moment. It does not look like either survivor on a generator. They're playing extremely safe, trying to play for this unhook.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be a pretty free unhook because we are quite worried about that generator at Shack. I don't know if Galifake is on the gen at Shack or on a different survivor, or on a different generator, but Paradox in the meantime is just hovering for the hook, so we have to choose now. Our killer has to choose between protecting the gen and protecting the hook, and I think it looks like they are choosing to protect the gen, though they do have a teleport. That's the thing with Unknown, is you can kind of pressure out 2 different areas at the same time. It's a little hard on the survivor end to coordinate that kind of thing because that teleport there was huge. And our Ada player might be taking a hit in just a second.
Yeah, Wozes does have that second wind, and that's going to dissuade G-Bot from chasing. Is just going to tag Paradox over here and start the chase. We do have this pallet gym. Paradox is heading straight for it, but that's going to be the UVX tag. Paradox running straight for the Shack, not even going to play the pallet gym. And now that Shack is popped, this could be an advantageous death spot, but that is not going to land. That's going to be the dash here. We are not going to see the vault over the window, though. Very well played from Paradox around the Shack. Meanwhile, G-Bot is actually going to leave this chase and teleport straight back over here on the other side of the map, where there's quite a bit of gen pressure, actually. Bombom getting quite a bit of progress. That's going to be the UVX used off the lockers, not quite going to land. This house could prove to be G-Bot's undoing, as Wozes is starting to run around, trying to get the distance. That is going to be the pallet drop, but the UVX is going to hit in the meantime, and it looks like G-Bot wants to keep this pallet up to kind of bait the survivor into playing around it. That is going to be Wozes getting tagged as a result, playing around the boxes here. Not going to go down just yet, which could be crucial because we don't see the eruption proc coming through, but that will be the eruption proc, but they're doubling, and this could be out.
And Adrenaline, now there we go, Adrenaline on the Ada as well. She did have Adrenaline from before, so that's all survivors healthy. We don't have no-ed, we don't have no way out, we have nothing in our back pocket except for the gen regression, which is already said and done. So Ada does have very little to work with, so probably will be taking a hit, but given she was healthy from Adrenaline, it doesn't affect us as much, and that's going to be our Rebecca getting off the hook, and Ada just wants the door open. We do need to see a hook onto our fresh survivor, which I believe is Galifake. I don't think Galifake got hooked yet, correct me if I'm wrong, Tyro.
Galifake has not been hooked yet, no.
Yeah, so that's gonna be. Ooh, might have to interrupt this door though. I think we know that this door cannot be opened, but Delita will certainly escape. But we'll see. This is kind of tricky. We're in a little bit of a tricky endgame.
Yeah, Gbot's in a very difficult situation. There's two survivors here that are injured who can't exactly go and pressure that door, but if Gallowfake were to go and open that door right now, that could be all three of them out. It just depends on whether Gbot can land some of these crucial shots or maybe catch a survivor off guard with a teleport. We do see quite a bit of the remnants here trying to get some action going, and Gbot is going to be going on that chase. That's going to be a balance landing from Roses, going to be making this pallet, but is not going to be enough. Very good read from Gbot, getting that down, and I think Gbot might just be claiming some stages here.
Yeah, but we never got that fresh hook on Gallowfix, so getting that fresh hook out is huge for our survivors. It's pretty difficult to get out some unknown sometimes if you aren't completely coordinated, but these survivors were incredibly coordinated, which is partly why I love unknown sets. They're so volatile, they could really go either way, and we saw that here, we saw the result of that in this set. So yeah, well played. We'll see that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Champions of the Fog. We are here in Vicinal versus Bombom, and this could potentially be the last game of the night. It all depends on what our killer is able to do. Last game, Gbot got a very respectable 8 stages on the unknown. We have to see whether Vicinal survivors can put up a better result up against Bombom's killer, Gallowfake. And Gallo has their work cut out for them, and the chase is going to proceed onto Bronzy here at Shack. Very similar to last match, don't you think, Jules?
Yeah, super similar, except I remember last match we did have a unfortunate either lag out or a 2-tap or something happened there with that first chase at Shack, so Bronzy able to not repeat that again and does actually get out of that area. He has balanced landing, I think, and is going to be possibly getting out of this scot-free because of that exhaustion perk available. Though it is going to take a weekend hit, and we'll have to see what he makes of this because this tile is a little bit tricky. I've seen some people, killers and survivors, having trouble, and that was an excellent hit through the wall. This might be a quick down. It really depends on if he can dispel the weekend in time.
Yeah, right now Bronzy doing a fantastic job in this chase. Not going to be dropping that pallet just yet, trying to hold off as long as possible. It does look like Gallowfake is going to get the down, though. Very excellent use of that teleport. And even though Bronzy's under this pallet, I don't think anyone is in the area. But a lot different from last game. That first hook's going to come through with 2 generators done.
Yeah, it was either 4 generators remaining or 5 generators remaining at the first down. Is that right?
Yeah, it was at 5 gens. It was a very quick down last game.
So that's going to be Gallowfake applying pop to a very low progress gen though, and it's going to be kind of patrolling this area, though we do have some gens in this area that we could try to protect. Unknown is pretty good at protecting areas like this, so we'll see if our survivors manage to work their way into the right side of the map and potentially get Bronzy off of the hook.
Yeah, we do see Gallowfake getting some pretty crucial tags with that UVX. That's going to leave the survivors in a very difficult situation when it comes to getting this unhooked. It does look like if they want to go for a trade, though, that is going to be the tag on Degree and the down on Degree as well, with Bronzy trying to run towards the opposite side of the map. They might have wanted to take the tunnel out chase towards the other side just to get them away from the generators over here, but it does not look like Gallowfake's going to take that bait. Is instead going to be commencing chase around the generators, and that is going to be a tag onto Gbot, going to leave him a bit vulnerable while the unhook comes through. I'd imagine Gallowfake drops chase. No, actually, Gallowfake's just going to continue the chase onto Gbot on the other side of the map. Gbot is going to take that UVX to the face, does not make it to that pallet, and that's going to be a very quick down.
Yeah, that trade came through and then the down came through almost directly after. That was a very short amount of time between those two downs, between Hanato's down and Sable. And I think that means that Gallifake knows their win con and is playing for it. If we want to play for 4K1, we would certainly try and get the tunnel out or camp this side of the map, but I kind of respect playing for the win condition too, getting these fresh stages on various survivors, as I believe in the previous trial it was on 3 fresh survivors. So if we manage to get 4, and we managed to get the same amount of hook stages, that would be a win in this set for Bombom. So props to them for playing into that, and we are going to be going back to the hook, it looks like, in the meantime, and potentially going after the unhooker, which was Hanato over here, and he does not have very much to work with. There's no pallet in sight. The main pallet, sure, but that's a little bit dangerous. He is just going to be pre-dropping it and working his way through the main building.
Yeah, but that teleport is going to catch Gree off guard, and Gree's going to have to go straight back towards his pallet. Going to be vaulting it and getting a little bit of distance due to live, but at the same time, there's not much for Gree to play with. Is going to have to go and use the pallets on this side of the map, which is where all the generators are. That is going to be a UVX fired, but Gree is not going to take the hit. Instead is just going to be making distance towards the top side of the map. That might be a death in the corner. Meanwhile, look at all this gen pressure that Vicinal is able to get as a result of this chase. They are doubling out this generator, it looks like, just trying to break that 3-gen on this side.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, the win con is a little bit tougher than it looks initially. Getting these stages out and these survivors is pretty hard, I think, because every chase is not even that short. I mean, yeah, we saw a pretty short chase on the Sable earlier, but that's not going to happen every time. That's an excellent snipe, by the way, onto Chiba as well. So well played to Gallifake, but Hanato is going to be unhooked in the meantime. We aren't going to be going for our tunnel out. We're just going to be going for the weakened Sable, and she is going to be going down once again. That's going to be not a pain rest hook, I don't believe. I think she already got pain rest. So I'm just collecting the stages, slowly working our way up to that win con.
Yeah, that will be G-Bot's first hook, or second hook, I'm sorry, the HUD is wrong. But with that second hook coming through, that's going to leave G-Bot in a very vulnerable position for the rest of the match, and they still need to pop 2 generators and get outs on top of all that. They did manage to break up the 3-gen, but there's still somewhat of a 3-gen on this side of the map. It's just not as tight. And it looks like the chase is going to commence onto Bronzy. We are going to see the tag come through with the M1, and Bronzy is going to be running straight towards that tractor on the other side of the map. Like you said earlier, there's just basically nothing on this side of the map whatsoever. And Bronzy is exhausted as well, which means that that's not going to proc the balance landing, and that is going to be a down.
Yeah, I think that was actually the result of our add-on, the watch add-on, the green add-on at the top. It does exhaust the survivor when UVX passes through them. So I think Bronzy wasn't actually looking maybe at the HUD and did get a little bit caught off guard. So balance landing did unfortunately not proc there. So watch value for sure. I love seeing add-on value because unknown's add-ons are decent, but you don't always get value out of some of them. So and gonna be applying pop to that generator by the tractor. And are we just gonna go back for our tunnel out? I wonder.
That might be the best strategy for Gallifake at this point. That is going to be Bronzy caught out at this edge pallet. We have not seen this pallet be of much use to any of the survivors so far. And Bronzy's going to have to make this chase count in order to help the team get the result that they need. Very good read here from Bronzy, though, playing around this pallet very well. Going to be looking around to make sure that the unknown is not able to get that M1, and doing a great job playing around it. Finally, this pallet getting lots of value, going to be vaulting that window yet again. And it does not look like we're going to see the tag come through. Bronzy playing around this pallet so well. Going to be getting the vault again and again and again, getting the distance away. That's going to be one generator popping. The miss Bronzy is playing out of their mind, going to be not going down. This pallet, I had to say that it was weak, and it just buffed the pallet all of a sudden. Now we're going to see the down come through, and Bronzy is going to be picked up, but we have Slasher in the
No.
corner.
Oh my god, the resilience value on that pallet was insane. Bronzy played that so well and managed to get away with so many vaults. And there is the balance landing finally coming through.
Oh my goodness.
When the no
The
though.
no-win.
We do have to slug though. I wonder, Bronzy might be. Ooh, okay, he does win the 50-50 there on the vault, but Ada is a fresh hook, I believe, and is going to be getting picked up and put onto the hook. No, it was unfortunate, and the generator popped at the perfect time for Gallowfake to get that hook. I'm not totally sure. This could be very, very close, depending on what we see here, because we do have 4 fresh. We have 4 fresh on all 4 survivors, and Ada is the last fresh hook on that hook. We have to find this nomad, and we have to get them off of the hook, if I'm counting correctly.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure myself. I mean, the HUD has just been super inconsistent as of late. I do believe... So Gbot got 8 stages, and if the HUD is correct, after 2 more stages, that would only be 6 stages on the board. But I don't know if the HUD is right. There's currently 7 stages. I was mistaken.
I think the HUD is a little bit off.
Yeah, the HUD is very unreliable. That is going to be a down though onto Bronzy, securing that 8th stage, and also just getting that win con actually, because like you said of the, oh, but we're going to see some body blocks and they're not going to be successful. That will be the tag onto Gree, and unfortunate for Vicinal, they are not going to be taking this set. That will actually go to Bombom. They tried so very hard to get that result, but unfortunately for them, it just was not there. And now we're going to see, oh my goodness, Gallo getting that instant hatch close onto Gree Zero and getting that Mori.
One of the best Moris in the game, I think. So getting that Mori onto Hanato, and that is going to be the win. So we are going into the tiebreaker. I believe it's a nurse set. So yeah, well played to both of these teams. That was an incredible game to watch. And unfortunate that Ace's chase at the end didn't actually win him the game. I was almost rooting for him after that many. All right. Welcome back to the 3rd and final matchup of the night. We are in the first set of the 2, and Gallowfake is on the nurse with an interesting build. We have Pop, Dying Light, Gift of Pain, and Corrupt, and also appreciate the raiders coming in from us. Appreciate you guys, but hopefully a good set for everyone. We're going to be taking chase onto Bronzy already, and Bronzy is going to be heading into this area by main. We do spot out a couple of different survivors rotating various directions, and yeah, I am here with Tyro. Tyro, how are you doing? You ready for the last set?
I am very ready. We do have quite a bit of distance coming through from Bronzy, and that's going to leave our killer going towards the main building, getting that tag onto Gree. Gotta love Nurse Spectator as always. Gallo going to be continuing the chase onto Gree down the map, and we are going to see them playing around this rock, but it's not going to be enough. That's going to be a very quick down onto Gree Zero, and an interruption on that main generator, which is very important for macro play. We do see Slasher tackling that generator as we speak, but the nurse might go back there and try to protect it again, and that is exactly what we're going to see here. But all the survivors are now split across the map, trying to get as much gen pressure as possible.
Yeah, as much gen pressure as possible, but there are 2 generators that are being worked on, but they don't have that much progress, and one of them has just gotten interrupted, unfortunately. So, I mean, I don't know, this could go either way. It really depends on that tunnel out and how long Crazy is able to last. But we are taking chase onto this Meg now. We got a nice tag. I don't think we're actually choosing to tunnel though. We are choosing to chase this Meg into the corner. Green Zero is scot-free off the hook and does kind of lose Slasher a little bit. Very good dodge by our Meg player.
Yeah, Slasher playing around a Z-wall pretty well. That is going to be a down. And like you said, we're not going to see a tunnel out, which is kind of unusual, and Gallo not playing as territorial as we see lots of nurses play From my experience, at least, that's going to be a 10% there onto Bronzy's gen. Bronzy's going to be making that distance away just to make a tag much less likely. But we do have two stages on the board for Gallo Fake and Vicinal survivors. You know, they're just still trying to get that gen pressure, but we do have that pesky little dying light in Gallo Fake's pocket that is going to make those generators just a tad bit more frustrating to do. And Gallo's going to now start playing a bit territorial around this top side.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Hanato does have Gift of Pain on them, unfortunately. So the generator progress is considerably slowed down. I believe 16% is the value on that. But Dying Light does counteract it a little bit. We do have some Dying Light stacks, well, one, and that is going to be Slasher coming off of the hook. I wonder if we are going to see a tunnel out now.
Yeah, we actually see the tag onto G-Bot, and G-Bot's going to be running out of that corner. That corner is kind of where you want to die against Nurse when you can't die in one of the pockets. G-Bot's going to go straight back there after dodging that Nurse Blink with extreme precision. G-Bot doing a very good job denying this down, but that is going to be another down and another fresh hook with only one generator completed so far. Vicinal really feeling those perks that kind of halt generator speeds, like the Gift of Pain, like the Dying Light. And, you know, Bronzy forced to kind of run away now, but Gallo continuing this rampage around these hooks.
Yeah, you know, I'm actually a little surprised about the lack of talent, but not disappointed because I do see that there's a lot of nurses on this particular map who play this like it would be a cold tower match and they tunnel and then they don't get very many stages out of it. So maybe this is honestly for the best. We are getting some decently fast chases, though there have been a few missed blinks that would have certainly altered the course of the game that we haven't seen quite yet. I don't know, this could really go either way. It's kind of hard to say how much Gift of Pain is really affecting the survivors right now, but we know that Gbot was our Deliverance player as they are broken and they did get the first hook of the game. So there's a very small chance that they are Decisive Strike as well.
Yeah, with that pickup, that's going to be the second stage onto G-Bot, and I believe the fourth stage overall so far. These survivors are just trudging through these generators, trying to get as much progress going as possible. Bronzy just barely not able to finish his generator at the speed that you would like. Slasher going to be running towards that unhook, but Gallo is going to interrupt that gen that Bronzy was on due to those slowdown perks. And Bronzy playing around this rock extremely well, but still going to eat a tag. Bronzy forced to run down the map, beelining it towards that pocket. And that is going to be a difficult chase. We do have the trees, but it's not going to be enough. Bronzy goes down right next to that generator that has so much progress. And Gallo is going to actually go back and try to stop survivors from doing it, going to be getting that pop value, and then going straight back towards that down survivor. Bronzy is going to be put on a hook next to this progress generator, and that's going to charge another pop for the Nurse, and this could be very difficult for the survivors to come back from.
We see in the HUD as well that Gbot is self-healing. I believe they had a medkit earlier, so getting some value out of the medkit and fully healthy. Our tunnel out is not going to happen, but that is a fresh hook on all four survivors. So some pretty hefty slowdown in the game now. We have quite a few Dying Light stacks there adding up, and everyone is Gift of Pain, I believe. And so just yeah, like you said, trudging I think is a good a good adjective for this. This is very slow progress. It's happening though. It is happening, and there is not a single survivor eliminated. So there's not as much snowball potential. We're all healthy, we're all in the game, but the chase is now on our only Death X survivor. So we might be seeing some trouble soon.
Yeah, Gbot forced to play around the shack. This could be very good for him. Remember, that's going to be a tag, though. Excellent blink coming through from Gallo Fake. And it does look like Gbot is in an unfortunate situation. Is just actually going to go down under a pallet, trying to bait out a pallet save, and here we have it. An excellent save coming through from Gree, but can Gbot make some meaningful distance with that pallet save? No, we're going to see the tag on Gree while Gbot tries to make it out. We do have this tile right here, which could prove difficult for Gallowfake. We're going to see the vault come through from Gree Zero. Gree Zero is going to get out, and Gbot's actually going to get out entirely as Gallowfake shifts their attention towards Gree, getting that down over near the pocket. But these generators have been completed, and now the survivors have an outstanding gen split for the final gen that they need to do.
That pallet save was huge. That pallet save was huge for our survivors. We have still 4 survivors in the game, and everyone is available to work on gens. We did see our Meg had started a generator in the distance. I believe it was this one that Gallowfake is on right now. Meg is very likely stealthing somewhere over here. Not totally sure where. Yeah, she's using her sprint burst is ready to go, 99, and we are going to be taking chase. I think Nurse was alerted to her presence by the scratch marks, and is that going to be a tag? No, that's a double blink coming out with no tag yet, and we do have sprint burst maybe ready to go. Yeah, there it is, and that's honestly gonna be a really good chase, because in the meantime Bronzy is working on a gen and Hanato has completely healed up.
Yeah, Slasher playing around these edge map obstacles very well, going to be making it very hard to get the tag as Nurse. Very good pathing from Slasher, hugging these tight walls, making it very hard for the Nurse to get the blinks off. You have to be extremely precise, and that's going to be a drop chase entirely, which Gallo is now forced to go across the entire map to pressure this generator on the other side, giving the survivors ample time to stealth due to that gen split. I mean, I can't overstate how amazing that gen split is. I mean, look how long it takes Gallo to make it from one side of the map to the other just to kick the gen. And there's no kick perks that we have on the boards. It's not like there's an eruption that's now like implanted into that gen. Like, that is just a dry kick that Gallo just has to accept because he made the entire distance over here. I do think we saw Survivor over by the shack, but I'm not exactly sure, and I don't think Gallo's going to risk going over there either. And Gallo's going to go straight back to this other side of the map where a Survivor is hanging out on that generator, and that is going to be, I believe that was Gree in chase.
Yeah, but in the meantime, these 2 survivors are doubling this gen in the pocket. Hanato does get caught out a little bit, but are we able to completely blink onto them? No, that was an excellent dodge from Hanato. Very good pathing from Gree, and maybe able to bamboozle once again. Oh my goodness, the edge map here is going crazy, and the last gen pops as well. That's excellently played. I think we need to give it up and find a survivor that hasn't got 2 hook states on them.
Yeah, Gallo gonna try their best to find a survivor. If I were Vicinal, though, I would be sending my most vulnerable survivor to these exit gates. And it looks like Gallo does find Gbot, who is on Death Hook, but they're still beelining towards that other door that might be open. Gallo going to be trying to get that blink, but excellent pathing from Gbot. This might be 4 outs here. Gbot beelining it for that door. Gallowfake does not have enough time to get the downs, and that's going to be a 4 out for Vicinal. Hello everyone, welcome back to the last game of the night. Gree Zero playing Nurse for Vicinal up against Bombom survivors, and Gree Zero needs to get 7 stages in order to win on the Groaning 2. This is going to be an exciting matchup, and we already have a chase and a whiff. Jules, what do we think needs to happen this game?
Oh man, I think it's tough to say if we need a ton out because it really depends on how Gree Zero plays this, but that's our deli survivor, I've just noticed, and our deli survivor got caught out pretty early and tagged through the pallet. Unfortunately, he's gonna be going down. That was an incredibly fast down, and not only that, but it was a fast down on the wrong survivor. This survivor has nothing to help them after they get unhooked. So not looking too good already, but they are cranking some generators in the distance. They're doubling those, so maybe not the most gen progress, but we do have at least some available.
Yeah, but I mean, we have the deli survivor in basement, and that is going to be extremely good for Gree unless they pull extremely early. And at that point, like you said, there's no anti-tunnel on that build. It will be devastating for the survivors if an early pull happens. They probably will just let Gallowfake cook down there in the basement, but Gree is going to try to look out for any rotations and try to snuff them out as soon as possible. Gree just kind of holding a blink here, looking around for anyone going for that unhook. Um, but yeah, we do have the Dying Light stack going to kind of help Gree in the meantime. And as we can see, of the survivors, we have two survivors on separate generators, just trying to crank them out. And I think Yusuf is going to be setting up for pull. It looks like Gree might be concerned over a comma tech, and that's exactly what we see here. That's going to be Yusuf getting that unhook, but Gree is not going to let any distance happen. That's going to be Yusuf getting tagged, and then the blink is going to come through, and there we go. That's going to be an instant down back onto Gallowfake at 4 generators.
Yeah, and I mean, this isn't looking too good. We had a survivor in the basement, and we have two survivors healthy, but one of them is injured. So, in the meantime, they are cranking out these gens. I mean, it's hard getting out of that basement. We don't have Decisive Strike, we don't have Dead Hard. The only thing we really have to work with is Sprint Burst. They really need to do something and do something fast to get Gallifake safely out of this area, but I don't know who is the For the People. I'm wondering. We might have to get some For the People action going. Yeah, looks like the FTP is on our Decisive Strike survivor, which is Ace. So Ace might have been actually going for that in the basement, but it did not come through, unfortunately, because of course Grade Zero was patrolling the hook quite closely. So this might be an elimination very fast. I'm a little bit worried.
Yeah, Gallo just kind of patrolling around the area yet again, looking for any rotations. We do see Yusuf trying to make their way in to get that save, but Gree's probably just going to be looking out very, very close. We do see Wazes here in the area as well. They might try to double save this. I mean, look at that. Yeah, I don't think Green realized that they're going for a double. That's a swing and a miss. That's going to get a lot of distance here for our survivors because we cannot even get the tag onto Wozes. That is going to be a tag, actually. But in the same breath, that's going to be a continued chase onto Gallowfake, who has nothing and is just going to be playing for their life around these edge map obstacles. And that will be a very quick down, securing the tunnel out at 2 generators. And they are now tripling to get that last generator done to get down to 1 generator in the 3v1.
Yeah, Gallifake eliminated out of the trial. That is it for them, which is unfortunate because I really like Soma Cruz as a character, but no, it's going to be out of the match for now. And two survivors are injured. We might be seeing a little bit of a snowball here. Ace does go down, but yeah, they needed to triple that gen to get it done. This is possible though. It's still looking possible, but given that Gree Zero has hit so many of these blinks, these have been incredibly accurate blinks so far. It might be a little bit improbable, I think.
Yeah, Paradox, our only healthy survivor, is found here on the rotation. Gree going to be looking around at the generators, looking for Wazes where they went to get their gen progress, is instead going to be blinking up towards Paradox. Paradox just barely evading that blink. And Paradox going to be running straight across the map, away from the hook, away from the generator. It's going to be playing around this TNL, but an amazing safety blink coming through. And that leaves Paradox in a very unfortunate position. And that will be a quick down. Gree Zero playing out of their mind. Just going to be picking up, not going back. And Wazes is forced to go and get that save. They did have a medkit and heal in the meantime. But that means that there was no gen progress.
This unhook is definitely fast enough to get the full health onto Ace, though, so we will have two healthy survivors. Definitely a good thing. Having everyone healthy means that there is very little snowball potential, but we are creeping up on that 6th stage Tycon and the 7th stage WinCon, so it's looking a little bit difficult. They had to try something, but unfortunately, that something in the basement did not quite work, and we got a lot of pressure off of it. So oh, a
Oh,
good light coming through though. That was very narrowly missed by Greasero. I did predict the light, but didn't predict it quite enough. And that is going to be a chase onto our ace. And I think, yeah, he's just going to be going down here. Didn't quite manage to fully juke. That is decisive strike though, I noticed. And yeah, he's going to be hitting that decisive strike, so buying a little bit more time, but this is a nurse, and we are able to just blink directly at them. And in the meantime, the other survivor gets unhooked and will be healing in the distance.
yeah, with that, I believe that is going to be the sixth stage. Paradox is going to be healed up, but they just need one more hook stage to go. And I mean, Gree probably could just camp out this last hook and force a trade, but Gree is just going to be going straight out and trying to find these survivors who just reset. The whole time Ruin is up, by the way. This tells Gree that he's able to just kind of go around the map and not care about the progress because there is no progress. Everything that could have been was regressing during that reset. So I would not be surprised if Gree was just playing extremely territorial around that hook, looking for those rotations.
Yeah, the next survivor to get found is unfortunately going to be the win or the loss, depending on your perspective there. And that's going to be Rebecca trying to get the unhook, but I do not think our killer is going to be allowing that. We have to do something because if Ace ties in that hook, that is also a loss. But yeah, unfortunately, unfortunately, we are well aware, and that is going to be the loss for Bombom and the win for Vicinal there with Ace's death. So well played. This is the tiebreaker. We can at least see if we can get a little bit of moral victory here at the end, but unfortunately not going to matter in the long run. So yeah, I mean, I've personally enjoyed watching these nurse sets. I don't normally, but they've been pretty back and forth, and it's very, very interesting to see for sure.
I do think this map kind of breathes some fresh air into the nurse set. I mean, Coal Tower is pretty much solved at this point. You know, you just kind of die 5 or top, depending on where your 3 gen is, and play from there. But this does actually add a little bit more depth. But that is going to be the tag onto Paradox. The blink coming through from Gree. Gree just going for some Biblios here. Not quite going to make it. Paradox going to be running straight towards that water tower. But we do have the 2 blinks in the chain. I spoke incorrectly. Only the 1 blink was there. Green not quite able to get that down just yet. The ruin will be found, but at this point it's too little too late. That blink was not enough. Paradox going to continue looping around these obstacles, breaking that line of sight, which is crucial for the nurse chase. Just doing a fantastic job of getting that distance. Gree unable to keep up, but these blinks are going to seal the deal and take home the victory for Vicinal.
Yeah, maybe it looked like that was a dead hard at the end there. He did not have any animation going to the ground. Who knows? But that is going to be the end of the game. So well played, Degree. That was very impressive to watch. Our survivors too. I think they got 4K1 because they were trying to play for that win con. They were very greedy on the unhook in the basement, but they kind of had to be because Soma Cruz stand on the basement would not have been good either, but gave away too many free tags in the process, unfortunately. But I mean, I've personally had a lovely time at casting with you, Tyro. It's been fun for sure.
Yeah, likewise. That was a lot of fun. Some great matches today.